Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another installment in MediaPost webinar series. I'm Mike Winkleman, Content Director for Bespoke by MediaPost, and we have a great presentation and discussion for you all today put together by our friends at Reveal Mobile. MediaPost webinars bring together the media, marketing, and advertising community to learn more about the methodologies and technologies to make effective business possible across a variety of categories, brought to you by our industry's top solutions providers, marketers, and practitioners. Leading today's webinar will be Dan Dillon, Reveal Mobile's CMO, along with Rachel Cartledge, Reveal Mobile's TikTok account manager. Today, Dan and Rachel will look at the ongoing battle for social media dominance with a special focus on the current favorite, TikTok. To help marketers and agencies attract more consumers, TikTok has been creating ways to make digital advertising for multi-location businesses not only easy, but effective. Dan and Rachel will explore the ways in which TikTok is taking on Meta, Google, and streaming video platforms, and will help you understand how to engage influencers and run campaigns that generate in-store sales, giving you insights into how advertisers can use TikTok to both drive and measure store foot traffic. Before we get started, just a reminder, after the presentation, we'll have some time for a Q&A session. You can submit your questions at any time during the presentation in the question box that you'll find on the GoToWebinar interface on the right of your screen. And with that, let's bring in Dan to get things going. Dan, take it away.
Thanks, Mike. It is great to be here with our friends at MediaPost and all of our fans around the country and hopefully the world, wherever you're joining us from. Rachel, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Dan?
Good to see you. I'm well, thank you. It's great to be here with you, Rachel, and of course, everybody who wants to know how to make sense of this new TikTok thing, because frankly, it's not so new anymore, and the train has left the station. If you're not on TikTok, building content and building revenue, this is what that webinar is all about. Now, we're going to tell this story through a special lens today, and it's really the lens of brick and mortar retail. We have a lot of customers who are running creative on TikTok today that are not trying to get website traffic. They're not trying to get app downloads. They're actually driving people to physical locations to get people to eat at their restaurant or play at their casino or watch movies at their movie theater. So that's really what this webinar is all about. And if you're curious about content for B2B or organizations with no physical retail, there's certainly content in here for you today. But really, the majority of all of our comments, Rachel's and my comments today, are going to be focused on that brick and mortar piece of the puzzle. So just for everyone's convenience, Rachel and I have pictures of ourselves up here on the webinar slide in case you're curious which one is Dan and which one is Rachel. It's now been solved. And we're going to cover a ton of content. Rachel and I both are going to cover a ton of content for you today, but we've bucketed it into a couple different categories. The first one is fundamentals, and this is where Rachel and I sort of unpack the blocking and tackling of TikTok. Who's using it? Why they're using it? How is it impacting our lives as consumers? And then the second section on content and creative is really getting into the meat of, well, creativity and execution, right? And then the last bit of the webinar, campaign measurement and a campaign example, is really the most important part of this webinar, and that is measuring what matters, really impacting foot traffic to physical locations from your paid social campaigns, in this case, TikTok. And of course, as Michael mentioned, we want to make sure we answer any questions you have. So anytime a question occurs to you, pop it into the questions box. Those will pile up, hopefully in the background. And then Rachel and I will get through those here at the end of today's webinar. We'll probably have you here for the next 45 minutes or so. It's a ton of content. So anytime a question pops up, by all means, don't be shy. So with that, we have Rachel actually who's going to kick things off with us and talk us through a couple of fundamentals about the TikTok platform. And just by way of credentialing Rachel, not only does she work in marketing at Reveal Mobile, but she does manage our own TikTok account. So she has a unique insight into creativity and execution herself. So with that, Rachel, take it away. Tell us about TikTok and how it fits into the greater picture here.
Thanks, Dan. So TikTok obviously is a shiny new object, or not so new to us all, but it's still definitely shiny. It's definitely like the favored social media platform of the moment. And what really sets it apart is the sound. So, you know, Twitter has your words, 140 characters. Facebook and Instagram both are driven mostly by photo sharing. YouTube, you've got your videos, whether they're long or the shorts, but TikTok, even though it's mostly video content, those videos are going to be driven by the sounds. Stuart Fell of Adweek said that TikTok is the home of the 21st century jingle, which is totally true. You know, sometimes you can just get lost in watching TikToks under the same sound. It's very much an earworm and stays in the top of your brain, basically. And diving into who uses TikTok, it's really kind of all over the board. Obviously, the younger crowd is driving TikTok. We've got 45 million from 10 to 19, which makes sense. Gen Z loves TikTok. But then you've got 93 million users who are going to be in that age range to purchase. So thinking about advertising on TikTok, there's definitely, even though it's majority of young people, there's definitely going to be a ton of people who have purchasing power that are using the app. Also, when it comes to using the platform, 83% of users have posted a video. So it's not an app that people are just idly using. I know that Instagram, a lot of people don't post to the grid anymore, but TikTok is definitely an app that is being looked at and being posted on. Capturing and keeping attention on TikTok, these are just a couple little quips on it. So every day, TikTok's audience spends about a movie's worth of time, about an hour and a half to 2 hours on the app solely watching TikToks. So kind of think about it. TikTok has really replaced TV and movie and even streaming services for Gen Z and millennials. 20% of people say that TikTok is more entertaining than other entertainment platforms, whether that's going to be Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is. People would rather spend their time looking at TikTok. And 30% of people say that they spend less time watching TV and more time on TikTok since they started using the app, which I can definitely attest to that. Once you open it, it's pretty easy to get sucked in and just keep in the loop watching the videos. And then time spent on the app. So if looking across the board here, obviously we spend a ton of time on different social platforms, but TikTok is the one that is clearly in the lead here. Like I said, people are spending around 90 minutes per day on the app, which is a traditional movie length, I would say. So there's definitely some power there for entertainment and putting things in front of eyes.
That's awesome insight, Rachel. I appreciate just how incredibly powerful the pull of TikTok is. If we're all turning off our Hulu or our Disney Plus and we're moving over to TikTok and really replacing that experience with whatever TikTok has to provide us, that's a pretty powerful statement that TikTok can make. And now we're going to talk through kind of how that translates into ad revenue for the platform. So clearly the people are there, you and I, all of us are there. We're spending time on TikTok. Interestingly, though, they are a distant fourth place in terms of where ad revenue stands today relative to their major competitors. You can see here, both Meta properties, Instagram and Facebook, are by far the leaders in where marketers across the US are spending ad dollars to attract eyeballs and drive foot traffic in this case. YouTube, a distant third place at 8 billion, and then TikTok is just about $6 billion in ad revenue for 2022. Now, what's interesting is if you look at the chart to the right, that $5.96 billion moves over to that second black bar. And last year it grew 184%, their ad revenue did. So that's a major jump. If you could ever report 184% growth in anything, you're probably doing a pretty great job, right? Now that growth is gonna moderate a little bit here in 2023, down to 46 and change, 46%. And by the time we hit 2024, while it's only going to grow 25%, that's still at a faster pace than the majority of the digital ad market in general, growing at about 17%. So TikTok is outpacing the market they're in, and they're also obviously going to supplant YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, and Pinterest combined, by and large, by the time we get to 2024, 2025. So even though they're in fourth place today, they're in a state of extreme rapid growth, right? So by and large, they're going to bypass those three this year, and then next year they'll bypass YouTube included. And we'll talk about how that's going to have implications on consumer viewing habits here in a minute as well. So TikTok is not doing this out of luck. They're very deliberate in how they're growing. They're also very deliberate in how they're responding to privacy concerns, and very deliberate in how they're responding to consumer tastes. So just in terms of your own ad dollars as marketers and where you're spending, if you have already taken some of those dollars off of Facebook or some of those dollars off of YouTube, here's why you're doing it instinctively. TikTok is fighting Facebook with a much breezier ad setup experience, and then we'll walk through the ads manager here shortly. And it's just a heck of a lot simpler to grapple with TikTok's UI than it is to go into the Facebook backend, or of course the Instagram backend, same thing, and set up a campaign. It's a little clunky and hard to do, frankly. So outside of the ad manager experience, TikTok is also frustrating Instagram by giving their creator community a greater cut of revenue on the back of sponsored posts. So if you're an influencer on TikTok and you're driving revenue for a brand, you're getting a greater cut of that experience than you would on, say, Instagram in this case. So they're attracting not just audiences, they're also attracting creators in unique ways. Thirdly, here on the list, TikTok is trying to take over YouTube's place in the world. So we all know YouTube as an entertainment platform, of course, but we also know it as a bit of a teaching platform, a tutorial platform. If you want to, I don't know, replace a light fixture, or you want to build a shed, or you want to change a flat tire or something like that, you might go to YouTube and figure out how to do that using a video on that platform. But just in the past 18 months, TikTok has launched a whole campaign around TikTok Taught Me. So they're trying to become that teaching platform in the same way that YouTube has sort of staked its claim. And then lastly, and this goes to what Rachel was saying a minute ago, we're spending 95 minutes on TikTok a day. That is a feature film's length of time. Well, they're noticing, right? And by virtue of letting creators build longer form content up to 10 minutes, you can tell now real stories inside of 10 minutes. I don't know the last time you got a full end-to-end narrative in 90 seconds or even 3 minutes, but 10 minutes is plenty of time to tell really a full-length story. So platforms like Netflix, platforms like Hulu are feeling the heat from this opportunity that TikTok is making available to creators. So really quickly on the ads manager, let me just walk you through the 4 sections here and give you a view into what it looks like in case you've not used TikTok to run ad campaigns in the past. Now, if you're a veteran, forgive me, give me a minute to walk through this for some of our earlier folks. It's 4 sections. There's a dashboard, right? And that's exactly what it would sound like. It is sort of home base for all of your campaigns, major metrics that you're tracking, assets that are in use, assets that are not in use. And then moving over to the right, you have your assets section. And this is where you have all of your audio clips, all of your creative, all of your drafts, all of your sound clips that you've used, that you've uploaded yourself, or that you've licensed off the platform. Audiences as well live in this section, in the assets section. So think of this as almost like the store, and where you can pull things off the shelf to reuse for campaigns. Which takes us down to the bottom left-hand corner. Campaign section is exactly what it sounds like. It's where you build your creative and execute your creative, set budgets, set flight dates. Now, it's worth noting that TikTok does force you to spend at least $50 a day, which is frankly not a whole lot of dough. If you're not able to spend $50 a day on paid social, then you're probably not going to make a meaningful impact anyway, since you're bidding against massive advertising budgets to begin with. And the other thing I want to mention is that TikTok does make day parting available. If you use paid search, you know this term. It's a way of serving your ads only during specific hours of the day. So if you're a restaurant, or if you are a retailer of some kind with operating hours, and you want to drive traffic to your store during those hours, it's a great opportunity for you to serve ads, say between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. and then your ads would obviously pause between the hours you're not open. So smart way to sort of maximize your budget in that regard. And then the last section of the ads manager is probably the most important, which is the reporting section. And this is where TikTok makes available to you a whole host of KPIs that you can track your ads against. And you would imagine the right ones are in there, right? Impressions, click-through rate, video views, length of video views, all the things that you would care about relative to your own creative. It also allows you to build custom reports, pulling on metrics that TikTok makes available to you. But I want to call one thing out here that's really important. TikTok does not give you foot traffic data. So we're talking about foot traffic to retail locations, physical brick and mortar. That is not available on TikTok today. So we are in this webinar going to teach you how to tie your TikTok creative to your in-store foot traffic. And that'll be coming here in the next several slides. But important note to make there in terms of what TikTok Ads Manager makes available to you and does not. So with that, let's roll into the content and creative section and get into the nitty-gritty on what works on TikTok and how you should think about orienting your own creative efforts.
Awesome. So the percentage of posts in feeds that are ads on each app definitely varies a bit. On Instagram, I know personally, if you are looking at stories, which most people, I'm millennial in my age range, don't care about feed posts, you're looking at stories. Every third post is an ad. On TikTok, that percentage is a little lower. It's 2.4%. So what this really translates to is you need to be more intentional with your ads on TikTok. You don't want to just throw up something that's generic and not really going to catch the eye. Also, another thing on TikTok is you kind of want to blend in and make it seem more like organic content rather than like a cut and clean packaged ad that someone can detect easier. And 3 out of 4 consumers now discover new needs via social media. So I know personally that when I'm on Instagram or when I'm on TikTok or when I'm on Facebook, those sponsored ads that popped up, I'm not really annoyed by them. I'm actually looking at them and I'm pretty impressed by how spot on some of them can be to my taste and my lifestyle. And I know that many people agree with that.
No doubt. TikTok has become sort of the new friend or neighbor whispering in your ear, hey, have you seen this? Have you tried this? Have you heard this? Have you, eaten at this place? It's a really powerful suggestion engine for sure.
Yeah, just like you highlighted the hashtag a couple slides ago, hashtag TikTok taught me, there was another one that's like hashtag saw it on TikTok when you're sharing your bag or your shoes or your organization thing that you bought for your desk, whatever it is. It's definitely an identifiable trend now when you're out in the world. You're like, I see that girl's sweater. I saw that on TikTok.
Totally. Speaking of which, in terms of the power of its ability to influence, this is some interesting data here, Rachel.
Yeah, so 15% of product discoveries happen on TikTok, which it might sound like a small number, but it's pretty significant for social media. TikTok is playing an increasingly important role in customers' path to purchase and first touch discovery and ultimately driving acquisitions. After making a purchase, consumers were asked to identify the channel when they first heard about it, and those 15% of people began on TikTok. And just a year ago, that number was only 4%. So you can see that in just a short range of time, a year, that can grow rapidly, their influence. TikTok is also helping brands win over some of the hardest audiences to reach, those who have only previously purchased from a competitor or exploring a new type of product for the first time. Acquisition is often one of the most difficult and expensive challenges for marketers. So this is really an important and key insight when it comes to advertising on TikTok.
A little anecdote about the power of TikTok and advertising. The Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago was played at a place called the State Farm Arena or State Farm Stadium, whatever it is in Arizona. And State Farm, interestingly, did not do a single ad buy on Super Bowl's clock, right? Instead, they went to TikTok and made a multi-day ad buy for State Farm and saved, of course, I'm sure many millions of dollars and benefited from the value of the game being played in their stadium, so to speak. But they really didn't even bother with the 30-second spot. They spent all of their dough, a fraction of it, on TikTok instead, because it is such a powerfully suggestible platform for people to become aware, of course, in this case, of new insurance options. So all of that to say, it's one thing to claim that social media is a discovery engine. It's another thing to say that it's a driver of purchases, and it is. So both things are true. Now, just recently, Saatchi went out and surveyed a bunch of TikTok users and said, hey, have you ever bought anything that you've seen on TikTok? Well, 56% said yes. That's more than half of all users have bought something from a TikTok promoted post or even an organic post. And then yet another 36% said, yeah, I haven't, but I'd be willing to. So in aggregate, 92% of people on TikTok are basically ready to buy. So if you're wondering, gosh, is my audience on TikTok? Yes. If you're wondering, gosh, are they going to buy my stuff? Yes. So the goal here really now is to connect TikTok with offline foot traffic or physical store foot traffic, and we will get to that. Now the 8%, we don't know what's going on. Maybe they have their phones on mute. Maybe they're watching with their eyes closed. We're not really sure, but 8% just, they're stubborn. They're not going to do it, right? But 92% fully are going to buy something on TikTok. In this same survey, Saatchi asked what makes TikTok ads most memorable, and this actually is going to dovetail into some of the tips Rachel's going to give you in terms of creativity. Before we get to that though, 58% of users said they really enjoyed funny content, right? So we know authenticity is key. We know being unpolished is key, but we also know being humorous really wins the day. 43% also said that they really enjoy tunes. They really enjoy the track underneath the audio or behind the speaker, the voice that is actually present in the video, or if there is no voice at all, they just want to hear the song, right? And we know, as Rachel pointed out a minute ago, TikTok was born as an audio platform and it remains an audio platform, right? Now, 38%, they also want to know, they also rather consider these ads memorable because they clearly demonstrate benefits of an experience. We've all seen TikTok influencers suggest cosmetics or hair products or clothing or restaurants, and those are powerful suggestions. So powerful, in fact, there's a new movement on TikTok called de-influencers, which is the opposite of that experience. People buying cosmetics or hair products or eating at a restaurant and saying, I would never do that again. So that speaks to the incredible power of just how effective TikTok is in suggesting. It can now desuggest and negatively impact, of course, your overall brand. So think about that as you create content on TikTok for your own brand, or you track mentions of your brand on TikTok. Be on the lookout for this new, really brand new de-influencer trend. 38% equal to the previous number. They enjoy trendy dances, trendy memes. We know this probably appeals more to the millennial and Gen Z demographics. And then lastly, users enjoy content being promoted by influencers that they have developed confidence in, right? We all have people we see over and over in our algorithm, and they're the ones we sort of listen to most intently because they're the ones who have obviously been most reliable in the past. So all that to say, these are a couple of ingredients that you would want to bake into your own TikToks once we get into the creation phase, which we're getting into here shortly. Couple other notes on TikTok and its power across other platforms. They want to make a name for themselves, not just on their own platform, but even elsewhere where they're going to siphon ad dollars away. So they did some surveys. They asked users, hey, when you watch an ad on TV, how much more memorable is it if you had previously seen the same kind of content on TikTok? And it was 13% more memorable. This is one of the metrics, of course, large agencies will track for their clients. TikTok also found that Instagram content is 43% more memorable if the content has been previously viewed on TikTok. So what TikTok is saying here is, don't take all your money out of Instagram, use both channels, but make sure you are present on TikTok so that when your audience does migrate and move over to platform B, you're going to make just that much more of an impact. And then, of course, lastly, YouTube is on the list. You're 31% less likely to skip through sponsored content on YouTube if you've seen content from that same creator for that same product on TikTok previously. So what TikTok is saying here, of course, is we have real stickiness even after you leave our platform. So more of a reason to be on the platform itself. So let me now walk through just a couple of strategies for building up your presence on TikTok. And the end game here really is earned traffic. And when we say traffic in this context, we mean foot traffic. We mean people coming into your stores to buy shoes, to buy whatever you're selling. This is what that's about. The first circle at the bottom of your screen here is about organic posting. And this is where you can really get started very easily and for free. Of course, it takes people power, but it is zero expense in terms of outlay. This is about showing up authentically on the platform. This is one of the things Rachel does so incredibly well. We will actually promote our own TikTok channel here in a minute. But I wanted to share with you, as you build trust and as you show people who you are and how you are in the world, you can begin to see what content has the most impact in terms of views, in terms of likes, in terms of comments. And then from there, you learn, right? Oh, this is the thing people like, and this is the thing people don't like. So clearly you would do more of what they like. And with that, you can now start to boost those most positively viewed videos on, or those clips on TikTok, right? So you're putting now dollars in the blue circle behind that top performing content. What this allows you to do is not just reach your organic audience, but in the same way that you might boost content on Facebook or Meta, or rather Instagram, you're reaching audiences who might have an affinity for your brand, who you would not otherwise reach without money, right? With that spend, TikTok is going to give you greater insights into KPIs that you don't have on the organic side. So now that you're in the ads manager, you have access to all those metrics, which I'll repeat here in a few minutes, that you didn't have access to as an organic poster. So once you sort of find this flywheel of organic posting and paid posting and figuring out what works, you're really thinking like a marketer in terms of backing with dollars what's working, but you're never stopping acting like a creator. You're never giving in to those marketing instincts where you want to get polished, or you want to get clever, or you want to get shiny, right? You want to stay down to earth and authentic. So the more you post and the more you amplify, that's where you're going to turn all of this paid and organic content into earned traffic, essentially, right? And that's when you become sort of a real TikTok expert in a way. This could take anywhere from a number of months to the better part of a year or so, because it is a lot of testing and repeating, testing and repeating. So let me talk through now briefly just a maturity model that you can put yourself on as I talk through this, so you can figure out where you fit and then how you can evolve. So this is straight from TikTok. This is their recommended approach to getting started. So we're just sharing what they've already made public. It begins in this white box on the left. This is where you reuse what you've already got. Maybe you're posting on Instagram. Maybe you've got a YouTube channel for your brand, right? Take those videos, take that content, maybe edit it down a little bit, and then simply get going, right? Put it on TikTok and see what happens, right? The worst thing that can happen, people have a very short memory on TikTok, which is to your advantage. So if it doesn't work, start again tomorrow, right? So the good thing here is that there's zero cost. It's pretty little effort. The downside is that you're not creating content and posting content that is native to the platform. So there might be some downsides to how people experience your brand if it's not exactly built to suit on TikTok. But don't let that stop you, because TikTok has a couple of tools that you can use to build your content for TikTok to get going. Smart Video, they have a video editor, and then of course they have a commercial music library which you can grab snippets from, which is one of the things Rachel does every day to back your video and end up in somebody's For You stream. Now in the second box, this is where you start to build some traction, and you're now working with TikTok as a creator platform. So you yourself are a creator as a brand, but you're also leveraging those voices that are established on TikTok and giving them a little bit of creative control over how you might promote your own brand on the platform. And we actually have a campaign example for you here toward the end of the webinar, where we talk about using creators, or what other people might call influencers, on the platform. And the downside here, of course, is you're giving up some control, but boy, those days are long gone, right? Give up control and see what happens, because frankly, it's a lot more fun that way, and the upside is a lot greater. Now, the tools you have available to you here are the Creator Marketplace, and then this notion of Spark Ads, which is a relatively new release from TikTok. A couple months ago, they gave you the ability to boost organic posts, which is an easy way, again, to just get some paid dollars behind your organic content. And then the last box here on the far right in the bright pink is really what you're going to find your powerhouse TikTok agencies doing. They have in-house talent, in-house studios. They have their own music licensing team. These are folks who are actually building TikToks as a matter of a revenue stream for their own business, right? So if you're looking to work with an agency like that, they're out there, they're good at what they do. If you yourself are one of those agencies, then clearly here this takes a long time to do. There's not a lot of sort of getting started and being great at it tomorrow. It takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of capital, and then of course takes a lot of testing and repeating. The good news though is that once you're an established creator on the platform using these kinds of high-end strategies, you're probably, again, banking revenue on the back of that effort. And of course, you can license your own music, and there is the creator marketplace still. So all that to say, put yourself on that model, figure out where you are, and then we're going to give you a campaign example here in a minute. Before we do that, though, Rachel has some awesome tips on how to build content organically that really converts.
Thanks, Dan. So first tip for making TikToks is definitely going to be frame it vertically. This has been kind of a thing on social media for quite a few years now. Most apps are, vertical oriented. They are not landscape, they're portrait. So make sure when you're filming videos, whether that's in the app or you're just doing it on your camera roll, do it vertically. It's a pain to crop landscape to TikTok. I can speak personally. It takes some time and it doesn't always look the best. So just think about that when you're filming your content. The second tip is definitely leverage the power of sound. We talked about this already, but sound is the driving thing on TikTok. I just can't speak enough about how much it's an earworm. My husband and I will walk around the house singing TikTok noises at each other. It definitely stays in people's mind. So if you can relate your product or your brand or content to a sound that can stay in someone's head, that's going to be lasting and stuck in their head for literally weeks. I can speak to that. The third tip is going to be to overlay concise and informative text over your videos. Yeah, speaking is great on TikTok, sounds are great, but what's even better is using a trending sound, using a song that people love, and then using really vibrant colors on your text on a background that people can read, informing them about your brand or your product, so that not only if they have their sound off, they can read it, but also keeping that little sound in their head, getting it stuck in their head. They're going to think about your content, and just text is always the best way to catch some eyes. The fourth tip is going to be to get your key message out early. So don't make you can make up to 10 minutes on TikTok now. Don't make a 10-minute ad and put your product in the last 2 minutes. The ideal length would be a shorter one. Put your product in or your brand mentioned at the beginning or in the middle, somewhere where someone's not going to be watching the video and going, what is this even about? Why am I looking at it? The fifth tip is going to be to include a strong call to action. So personally, when I am making TikToks about Reveal Mobile, I'll throw in a slide at the end and, give a little snippets of information throughout the TikTok, but then at the end say, if you want to learn more, visit us at our website. Just have something that will pull people in rather than just them scrolling by and forgetting about your content. The sixth tip is going to be to break the fourth wall. So obviously, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, one of the best movies of all time, mastered this. Anytime you can do that, kind of wink at your audience, clue them in, and include them in your content, they're going to remember that. And who doesn't love, being included? It's human nature. The seventh tip is going to be keep your story real and entertaining. Like I said before, you want to kind of blend in on the feed. Don't have an ad that looks super clean cut and packaged. This is an ad. Kind of have a natural human, disposition about it, something that an influencer would post or something that just a normal person would post. You don't even have to be influencery about it, but just be natural and be human so that you can be relatable. The eighth tip would be to ride the latest trends. Obviously, there are TikTok sounds that last a little longer than others, but you don't want to be using some TikTok sound from 6 months ago that, like, if your 12-year-old niece heard you referencing it at Thanksgiving, she would make fun of you and like call you washed up or something. You want to stay hot and stay on the trends. TikTok also helps you with that. When you're making a TikTok and you're going to add a sound, they're going to show you the trending sounds in a list, almost like the Billboard Top 40, so that you can be sure you're picking a sound people are going to care about. And the last tip that I have is to let TikTok creators take the lead. So whenever you can get help from an influencer or even inspiration from other creators, definitely ride that wave. Don't think that you have to think of all these grand ideas by yourself. TikTok is a lot of like peer sharing ideas, and the trends make that so much easier for you. So also when it comes to maximizing conversions on TikTok, not just making the best content, but also getting those people to follow through on your ad, go high resolution. So like I said, with the landscape and the portrait, and you're cropping your content to fit the TikTok, dimensions, you're going to want to make sure that you're using high resolution video. So 720 or higher, you're going to see a 312% lift in conversion compared to using something that's really pixelated and grainy. Nobody wants to see, as they call them, a deep fried meme. Doesn't really look great. And go vertical, like we said, video shot in a 9/16 aspect ratio saw a 91% lift in comparison to videos that were shot in a landscape format. So stick to it, make sure the content looks clean. That call to action is going to be really important. When you do it in a text format, it provides an 152% lift in conversion compared to videos that don't clearly state what the audience should do next in text. And then also go short in your ads. So yes, you can make a 10-minute video on TikTok, but that does not mean you should. Videos that fall between 21 and 34 seconds receive a 280% lift in conversion compared to videos that are much longer. So definitely keep it short and sweet and nice and pretty to look at.
We have reached that point in the webinar, Rachel, where we're going to now show all of your amazing creations, or at least promote all of your amazing creations on our own account. Frankly, no, I'm kidding, folks. This is just our moment for you to take a second, grab your phone, find Reveal Mobile on TikTok, and follow us. If you're looking for more great digital marketing tips, how to maximize advertising on social, how to be really smart with your ad dollars on TikTok, Rachel, you're hearing from here first person, but you can hear from her in the form of many, many TikToks of your and many, many to come. So grab it, follow it, and we'll move on here shortly. Reveal Mobile is the account page. And Rachel, awesome. You guys got to see these. Just go and watch. Trust me.
Thank you, Dan.
Absolutely. Oh, and also huge kudos for the Gen X movie reference on Ferris Bueller. I appreciated that for sure.
I have to appeal to all audiences,
Indeed, you're very versatile. So one of the questions we get a lot is, okay, so I've got money and I need to spend it in one place. Where do I go? Do I go to TikTok, or should I go to some place called Reels? We all remember that, right? And the answer is it depends. So I've broken down for you here in sort of short form how consumers perceive content and interact with content on both platforms. First and foremost, since we're talking about TikTok, I'll go there. You're going to know if your video works really quickly. You're also going to know if your video fails really quickly. People are moving on at an extremely rapid pace on TikTok. There's no going back and rewatching. So if you're not getting hundreds of views in the first, let's say few hours, you didn't land, right? It just didn't work. So move on. The good news here is that it's not a total failure because you know fast and you can try again something different tomorrow, right? They also on TikTok, we will share with reckless abandon, right? We will see something on TikTok, we will send it to our spouse, we'll send it to our friends, we'll send it in the group chat, wherever we send it, we're doing it crazily, right? So people don't need to necessarily have an affinity for your brand to share a really funny clip. They just need to be entertained. And that's why on TikTok, more experimental content generally pays off, whereas on Reels, you need to be sort of more maybe toned down in your craziness or your experimentation. So TikTok, move fast, fail fast, and just keep on trucking. And we're happy to talk more about that in time and questions. Now on Instagram, if you're wanting to put money behind Reels, be patient with your dollars. If you go post a video and it doesn't land in the first 48 hours, be patient. They have a second life, right? People will come back or discover your reel after some time has passed, even after a few weeks of posting, because someone will come across it, it will get shared, and it will sort of get a second breath, a second lease on life. The other thing about Reels content is that it's not imminently shareable unless people can relate. So on TikTok, we're sharing because we're entertained, we're sharing because something is wild and wacky. On Reels, we're sharing something because it resonates with us on a personal or experiential level, right? We're a new parent, or we just went to this concert, or this is our favorite food. So we can relate to the content on that level versus it just being something that makes us laugh. So think about, in terms of your content on Reels, if you want to post something that is going to be shared more likely, make sure you're targeting much more accurately than you would otherwise on TikTok. TikTok, there's a much greater margin for error, which is good news. All right, all that as backdrop, let's talk through a couple of key campaign insights on measuring and on running a campaign for brick and mortar stores. This is what we promised you in terms of tying TikTok online to store visits offline. So the first thing I want to get across here is all the tools that TikTok makes available to you in terms of measurement and specific to your goal, your ad goal itself. So let me go through these in turn. In the pink bar, you've got in-platform metrics, which is exactly what it sounds like. How many people saw my video? How many people did I reach with my video? How many people clicked through on the link I used in my video? How many impressions? All the things you would expect from a digital media platform, right? And all of those are native to TikTok. Now, if you want to measure things off of TikTok, like visits to a website or actions in a mobile app, those are the two light blue sections at the top. This is where you would use a pixel provided by TikTok, very easy thing to add to your creative, which will then correlate traffic to your website from TikTok sources. Or you can use UTMs, which are essentially appending a string of values to a URL that allows you to track traffic back to TikTok. So these are tried and true metrics or methods for tracking your website metrics. Similarly, TikTok has a bunch of MMPs, mobile measurement partners, that they use that you can also capitalize on to track TikTok sourced traffic to your mobile app. So if you're merchandising an app or products inside of an app, you have your choice of many different MMPs here on this list. Now, this webinar is about the purple box. This webinar is about measuring conversions in stores. Let me talk through these two options for you here briefly. This is about running ads on TikTok and then watching people show up at your physical locations. Two options. First one, of course, is Reveal Mobile. We'd be remiss not to mention this. And it's a really easy tool for building audiences that are location-based and then running those audiences as custom audiences on TikTok. I'm going to show you how. And then tracking those audiences in the background through a location intelligence tool, which is one of the things Reveal Mobile does. And all of this is very easy to do, easy to set up, easy to run, and results come in a matter of days. The other option you have is a tool called Foursquare. If you recall, Foursquare maybe 10 years ago was that app we all used to check in on Facebook or whatever app we were using. You could tell people you were at the bar, you could tell your friends you were at the restaurant, and they can meet up with you. Well, Foursquare no longer allows you to check in, I don't think, but what they have is a massive amount of location data. So if you make a major media buy on TikTok, hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can have a unique path into Foursquare's data, but you're of course doing this in the back of a massive media buy. So Foursquare is accessible to only the largest brands in the mix, whereas Reveal Mobile is available to just about everybody who would advertise on TikTok. So let me talk through now a campaign example that allows you to understand how to drive foot traffic using TikTok and a platform like Reveal Mobile's. So briefly, we went ahead and took a look at Tropical Smoothie Cafes. This is our brand of choice here at the moment. Tropical Smoothie Cafes foot traffic, using our own technology to understand what kind of trends Tropical Smoothie is seeing in their own locations. And by virtue of our location data and our point of interest database, we're seeing that Tropical Smoothies foot traffic is down 2% this month over the same period last month. We're also seeing that about 52% of their shoppers, or their diners in this case, are traveling more than 5 miles to get to the store. So they're going out of their way to get to Tropical Smoothie Cafe. That's what they want. They're on a mission. And then you can see here also, there's a low proportion of new customers. Tropical Smoothie Cafe has a large proportion of customers who visited more than once. So they need to grow that portion of customers that are brand new to the brand, right? They want to grow their audience, essentially. So we have a couple of problems we need to solve. We're going to do this two different ways. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to retain, now we are Tropical Smoothie Cafe, we're going to retain the customers we already have, right? And we're going to do that by putting a geofence around our own locations. And Tropical Smoothie Cafe has, let's look, 576 locations in the US. We know that data. So we're going to put a geofence around all those, and then we're going to start serving ads to those people and telling them to come back. But we're not going to stop there. We're also going to geofence all of our competitors, Jamba Juice, Orange Julius, Planet Smoothie, because man, those are just the wrong smoothie places to go, right? Come over to Tropical Smoothie Cafe. So we're going to actually take all of those visitors as well through the form of mobile ad IDs, and we're going to serve ads to them as well and offer a better price or maybe a better experience. Maybe our stores are cleaner. Who knows what we're advertising? But the point is, we're going to steal market share from Jamba, Planet Smoothie, and Orange Julius. So we actually did this experiment for the sake of the webinar, and we put geofences around all of those locations nationwide, and we looked back 7 days. So we said to our own technology, hey, tell me everybody who went to any of these 4 smoothie stores in the last week. And we got 250,000 audience members we could market to. It's a pretty sizable audience, right? So then we took that list, it's a list of mobile ad IDs in a CSV file, very simple, and we uploaded it to TikTok as a custom audience. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And TikTok said, oh, hey, everybody, of this audience, we have 54% of them who are actively using TikTok. So here is your audience of 135,000 addressable consumers. So here's what that looks like. Step one, in the TikTok Ads Manager, we went to the Assets section, which is where audiences live. We chose Create Audience, and we uploaded, you can see a customer file in step 2. And in step 3, when you click Customer File, it gives you the automatic default setting of give us all of your mobile ad IDs, which in Apple terms is an IDFA, ID for advertising. And in Android terms, it's GAID, which is Google Ad ID. So that's what we're effectively using by geofencing these multiple locations. We're pushing that CSV file into TikTok, and now we're advertising only to those 135,000 people who've had a smoothie in the past week, because we know they're going to come back. Everyone loves a smoothie, right? So we're going to advertise to those folks who are in market for smoothies, and here's what we're going to run. This is our creative. We're going to have this influencer, Cody Ryan, who's a well-known influencer for food on TikTok, go into a Tropical Smoothie Cafe and grab a drink, grab actually some lunch. Did you know they have fajitas? And she's going to delight in all of this deliciousness in her car. Oh, and by the way, if you're on lunch break, here's the food you should go get at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. So Cody did all the right things as an influencer or as a creator on TikTok. She tagged the brand. She mentioned that it's a sponsored post, #ad. She used all the right hashtags that, of course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe asked her to use. And she's addressing a pretty massive audience. She already has 349,000 followers. But bear in mind, this ad is only going to those people who've been to Tropical Smoothie Cafe or any of their competitors. So it's an extremely targeted set of creative. Here's what happened. By virtue of addressing those audiences, Tropical Smoothie Cafe saw a 15% uptick in foot traffic to their locations. They also saw 57,259 people visit their stores during the campaign period. So now what we've done here with that number is we've tied our TikTok ad spend to 57,259 Tropical Smoothie Cafe visitors, which is a pretty powerful thing to correlate. This is not impressions, this is not click-through rate. These are people coming into your store. And because we know the Tropical Smoothie Cafe's visit is worth $15 every time somebody goes, they spend about 15 bucks because they're not alone, or they're feeding a family, or they're with a group of friends. So by virtue of multiplying 57,259 times $15, we have now driven on the back of our TikTok ad spend $858,885 in Tropical Smoothie Cafe sales. There you go. So now you have the most powerful number that you can bring to your stakeholders in terms of advertising on TikTok and the results you're delivering to the business, right? And then of course we have a couple other metrics, targeted devices, that was the number that matched in TikTok. How many households are actually represented among those devices, so we know where devices live, so to speak. And then of course the number of advertiser locations, which we already spoke to a minute ago. So with that, when you're running ads on TikTok, Instagram, any paid social platform, TikTok in particular in this case, and trying to drive in-store visits, whether it's a restaurant, a movie theater, an auto dealership, we don't care. We are measuring the impact of that ad spend in your store visits. And on the right here, you can see a typical chart we would bring to bear for our own clients who are using this kind of technology. You got this many visits, at this dollar value, and here's the impact of your ad campaign. So it's really something that isn't possible on the platform natively, but it's entirely possible to do with just these two technologies, which are very, of course, simple and low cost to use. All that to say, it's easy to get started with TikTok. Campaigns aside, if you're curious as to how to get your first piece of content out in the world, looking for trending sounds, exploring additional tools in TikTok Ads Manager, the Business Help Center is really the place to go. It's a, as you can see, sort of, load ahead search engine that allows you to look up certain topics and get specific answers to your needs. It's a great place to start if you're curious. All that to say, we have, I think, just a few minutes here for questions. What can we do for everybody, Mike?
Well, we have a ton of questions, as you would imagine, given the nature of this, and we only have about 5 minutes left in which to answer them.
All right.
Questions range all over the place. So let's get to a few of them and see what you can do. For everybody who asked a question that doesn't get answered now, don't worry about it. The Reveal Mobile folks will answer your questions offline later on. So, we'll get to as many as we can here. Evan Hoxheimer says, we are a franchise. Would you recommend our local stores put money behind their store pages?
Yes. So one of the things that TikTok allows you to do is, if you're this is a question, sounds like from a multi-unit chain, which is great, a multi-unit retailer. The short answer is yes. And with location-based campaigns, you can build audiences. I gave you the example of a national campaign, but you can run audiences at the local level or the DMA level. So if you have a store, say an anchor store in some major metro, you can pull audience members from those zip codes or from that DMA and run campaigns designed to drive traffic to your local stores. So it really depends on what you're trying to drive in terms of your overall strategy. If you're looking to create a lift for local franchise stores, then the short answer is yes. If you're looking to drive value, if you're a brand marketer or you're a growth marketer for a major national brand and you're working for the mothership, then of course your strategy is going to vary in that regard as well.
Okay, and that ties in with another question we got here, which you partially answered here, which is, have you seen local store managers or owners leverage TikTok in effective ways?
The short answer is yes, as organic posters, and Rachel might have something to add to this. What we see most often though is ownership of TikTok as a platform of choice at the brand level, not necessarily at the franchise level. So if you're looking at a collection of stores, let's say you have 30 stores in a metro area, that's certainly a center of budget gravity. But if you have 50 stores across, I don't know, the Pacific coast, then you're probably in a better position to centralize that budget with, again, corporate, and let that entity drive your strategy for, say, all 50 stores. Anything to add to that, Rachel, from what you've seen?
I think that's perfectly said. Also, when it comes to a brand like a franchise, you're going to want to keep that brand representation pretty uniform. So when you break it down to individual stores having accounts, it gets a little messy. So I do think it's better to go through corporate and try and see if you can have, one overarching account that can talk about your multiple locations. But yeah, it's definitely easier and cleaner for you and for the consumers to just have one big brand account.
And a somewhat related question here is, how many store locations do you need to make an online to offline campaign work?
That's a really good question. We see sort of minimum viable number of rooftops at around 25 to 30. if you want to see meaningful attribution metrics, like I showed you a few slides ago with, what was our foot traffic as a result of the ad spend, what was our estimated revenue as a result of the ad spend, we do sort of set a minimum threshold at about 25 rooftops.
Okay. Jason Bullock wants to know, how do I find a social media content creator that's right for my brand and can help me build it?
I would defer to Rachel on this one. She's probably a much better person to answer that question. What do you think, Rachel?
So yeah, depending on what your brand is, there's a number of ways to find content creators who can help you out. Pretty much, I would just go like the example that Dan highlighted with the influencer who was food focused. If you're a food brand and you are trying to promote your new milkshake, I would go and find those influencers who are solely in that space. It's truly not very hard to find them on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever app you use. Pretty much all of them use hashtags now. So you can just go to your explore page or the For You page, whatever the app calls it, and just search in, hashtag food, hashtag fried chicken, hashtag milkshakes, whatever it is that your brand really specializes in. Find those top posts, and then I would find an influencer from there. Honestly, the easiest way to reach out to influencers is either DMing them or emailing them. Pretty like old school when it comes to that. There's no like magical influencer marketplace where you can like go buy content from. You kind of have to look for it and reach out organically.
Okay. And Carmen Martel wants to know, how do you know the client came from a campaign? With the geofence, do you match mobile ID to the database, or is it with a questionnaire at the end of a sale?
It's the former. So we're tying unique mobile ad IDs that are informing the audience creation process with the mobile ad IDs that show up at a physical location during the campaign. So it is purely one-to-one and clear line of sight on mobile ad IDs.
Okay. And Stephen Houghton wants to know, is there a way to verify the attribution of additional revenue from foot traffic who were served an ad? How do you separate new visitors versus those who are already headed there?
That's a great question. Our technology, I maybe didn't land on this slide long enough, but our technology will distinguish new visitors from returning visitors. So as we have this massive POI database, point of interest database of 13 million retail locations across the US, we know when devices show up at that location for the first time within a time period, and then we should know when those devices show up at that location for a second time or a third time within a defined time period. So by the same token, the reporting you would get on the back of a campaign will also show you this device is brand new in this location, never been there before, and this device, or conversely, this device has been here before, and this campaign probably didn't inform a new customer acquisition, but it certainly drove a repeat visit. So we correlate both of those things.
Okay, so we have time for one more question, and this is a kind of Reveal specific one. Does Reveal Mobile run TikTok campaigns like an agency?
We actually do not. Aside from what we said about Rachel making TikToks for our own business, we are not content creators ourselves for brands. We enable brands to use a platform that powers their campaigns and gives them the intelligence on return on KPIs, but we're not a creative agency that builds or serves media.
Okay, so we're just about out of time. I wanted to remind everybody that Reveal will send out to you a recording of this webinar as well as the deck from the webinar. A couple of people have asked whether you'll get it. The answer is yes. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks again to Dan and Rachel for a great presentation and to the audience for some great questions. Thanks to everybody behind the scenes at Reveal Mobile who helped to put all of this together. We hope and are sure that everybody found the information presented not only helpful, but really informative. Stay tuned to MediaPost website and digital publications in your inbox for more informative webinars to come from other valuable MediaPost partners in the weeks and months to come. Thanks so much to everybody for joining us today. We'll see you next time, and stay safe out there. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.